Welcome everyone. This is Evelyn, and hopefully we'll get through all of my messages today. I've been having a little bit of technical difficulty with my device here. So we're going to be starting from May 11th with my downloads and hopefully get through everything up till today. So today's the 16th and the clock is 2:22 as we start. Room 222 and the guidance show. And just straight off, I had pulled a past life card just prior to the video to see what energy was coming up, and I'll show you that because more than one card came up in just a moment. But I just want to tell you first what I got from my meditation, and again why my baby picture is out here. And this baby picture is probably, I started walking at 9 months old, so somewhere between 9 months and 1 year. And the reason why I put it out here is because of the past life cards that just came up. So when I was doing my meditation, and again I was going to my inner little girl, asking what more we need to add to the past couple posts that I just did, which are part of this video. And I was being guided to talk about using other people's information to piece things together with my information, and I specifically was getting from my meditation, which then allows you to weed out the extraneous, what's no longer needed, as within, so without. So just like in nature, it's not just using one person's information, not just one plant. In your garden, you have multiple plants, but then weeds also grow that may not need to be there. When combining other plants together, removing the extraneous, and again, separating the wheat from the chaff kind of energy, as within, so without. So you need to clean up that energy of knowledge, emotions, as it is in nature, outside of you. So specifically, what was coming up in the past life deck energies, the first card I pulled was lessons and blessings. So again, the energy of weeding, right? We're not just getting lessons, right? Clearing our wounds, but also blessings, right? There's both sides of the coin. And then next what came up was unrequited love, which was definitely coming up regarding the father wounds here, okay? So the lessons and blessings of unrequited love regarding the father. And then we have finances, and of course the 30 pieces of silver can reference betrayal. And there's the wisdom of knowledge of the masculine, and then the transportation here. And the little baby in the basket left down the river, okay? So here is the energy of the feminine feeling unrequited love, the lessons and blessings of that unrequited love of the father regarding finances and knowledge, or the father going off to work and having to travel and leaving the baby alone, because being an orphan was also coming up this week, and the underlying energy perfect was leaving or travel. And there, literally look, there's the suitcase and my bicycle, which is the train that was shown. And on my suitcase is a penguin, which Teddy left in my room for me today. And when I went to throw it to him today, he wouldn't take it. He had his little beverage. And when I wrote down beverage, it's literally be Eve rage. So the divine feminine's rage. And regarding her masculine energy and the father wound. So you may be feeling some frustration or irritation coming up. And yeah, let me know how that resonates with you. So now we're going to start from where I left off. And last video I was talking about Michael Sala's video with George is it Karasalis? I don't know if it's K-A-R or K-A-V, because I don't know if I changed that. But anyway, George Karasalis was on Michael Sala's video, and a lot of stuff came up for me regarding that. And then I ended up watching another video of his today, from his last one, which has to do with the sequence of events of our evolution and from the primordial waters, so to speak. So I'm only bringing up his information from his videos because it's coming together with the information or downloads that I'm getting, which then allows us to bring that information together and separate the wheat from the chaff, or in other words, weed. So yeah, definitely watch those videos. I'm not going to bring up any more information about his video other than what's coming together with the information that I'm getting. Okay. But there's definitely great perspectives from that first video I talked about that are very different from others' perspectives, which made a lot of sense to me actually, and very much resonated. And then today again, I didn't watch his whole video today, which is, I think it's titled Religions and ETs, something about that. But again, it was his most recent one, and I've only gotten about halfway through that video. All right, so back on May 11th, we're starting from here, which was a Saturday, and I had woken up at 8:38 to 39, which is the Queen of Cups and the Knight of Cups. And again, for those of you who haven't been watching my other videos, I've been practicing the technique of counting back from 100 to 0 after I wake up in the morning, and sometimes just falling back to sleep, and sometimes going into a past life regression or getting a message. All right, so I've been bringing that information to you as well. So by the 11th, I was on 50 to 0, because the technique goes from 100 to 0 for 10 days, then 50 to 0, 10 days, 20, 0, and then 10, 0. So it's 40 days altogether. And then, you know, so when you count back from 10, it will make it easier to get to that 0 point energy. So I woke up at 8:38 to 39, and then I went back inside after I did my 50 to 0, and I'd seen my own eye. And so at that moment, I opened my eyes to look at the clock, and it was 9 o'clock right on the nose, which of course relates to Jesus as well, that 9 o'clock. And then I woke again, finishing that at 9:21 to 22. So when I wrote this down, I realized that 9 was right in the middle of 8:38 to 39 and 9:21 to 22. So it's 21 to 22 minutes on either side of the clock, and the 9 was coming up as the eye. And the number 9's been coming up all week too, which is regarding the Hermit, but also the number 9 of compassion and endings, and the 1 in the all. And so 21 to 22 is significant on either side of the 9, because 21 is the world and the whole, completion. It's the completion of a cycle. It's also 2 and 1, the feminine and the masculine. And then moving to 22, which is the Fool and that leap of faith with an open heart into the new cycle. And 38 to 39 equals 77 of the 9 of Pentacles, sovereign, and 21 and 22 add up to 43, which is the 3 of Cups of joy, of coming together in joy. And then weeding. They keep bringing that in. So again, this energy of backward and forward of the 9 or the eye, the cycle into the next leap of faith, and then the word faith was coming up to be analyzed. So the infinite F, which is digamma, literally, the symbol of 2 gamma waves. So digamma, but also comes up as the twin flame energy, and AI, the twin flame reflection of the I am and on I. And remember, AN can represent Anu of the Anunnaki, but also An, which is 1, and 1 and I can be represented as the same. So then we have faith, FA, which is father, right, but also the 4th note. 4 is the L and the 1 of the lambda, or lambda father leap, and it also means father-ish, or father-ith, which is father-ish, or infinite father. Fae, I didn't realize that fairies came up in my Insta message this morning too, from a cloud picture, so check those out too. Fae, F-A-I, means fairies, but it also means fault, sin, to create, constitute, force, add up to, emit, to follow, to gift, to live, to lead, to spend, pass, pronounce, judge, work, play, suppose, or imagine, and take root. A perhaps dangerous journey with the house, the mouse, and being frightened, the attic, wooden floor, board, gray, plant, woman, faith, to dig, pound, crash into, and repair, to give, rehearse, perform, be in progress, the banana tree and its fruit, centipede, and the millipede. So again, that reference of the children, it's fruit. The shoulder, the wing, the hill, and Fe means it is believed that. Fa is the tree, so again the father of I and I am. And then cattle also came up with livestock. And the hermit's number 8 destiny of 38 and 39, which equals 77, sovereignty, to the 9:21 to 22 gate, which is the fall equinox of where Virgo moves to Libra, which is the exact center of the astrological chart. And then 43 of coming together in joy. I want to bring up too, there has with this frustration and anger perhaps coming up of the masculine within all of us, also sadness coming up, right, of that unrequited love of the father, but that can come out in your father, your brother, your boyfriend, your husband, your child. So however it's coming up for you, you may be feeling sadness from a masculine. At 11:11, I was posting that morning on the 11th, my Instagram of Eva love, so love backward and forward, as we just talked about the numbers backward and forward from the source, 9 of 1 in the all. And I was picking a song for that post, and John Legend came up, I love, you love, right at 11:11. But it wasn't quite right for the Instagram post, but I did want to bring that up because it was significant that it came up at 11:11. I was being shown that. And that, you know, don't let the moment pass. So then I was researching the number 40 as well, which is Ea, because Ea has been coming up all week as well, which is Enki. And under number 40, Leonard Euler's lucky numbers came up because it's 40 prime numbers. And some of the numbers within those 40 that came up that were interesting to me were 41, 83, 97, 131, 313, which those two numbers also reference to me life and death because it's 13 and 31, which is chaos and control, or life and death, etc. 383, 797, and 911 all came up. 1231, and the last number, which is 1601, and today is the tower number 16. It's the 16th, and today adds up to the 29, which is the 3 of Wands, being present in the moment, which the definition of the now moment just came up under new and you as well as I was doing my downloads from today. So when I just looked up in Wikipedia the information about 40, and something else about 40 that was really interesting was that Fahrenheit and Celsius also come up with minus 40 is the only time that they're equal in number. Right, so minus 40 Fahrenheit and minus 40 Celsius. And then M40 with a magnitude of 9.0, so there's that 9 again, is a double star in Ursa Major, also came up. So literally Ea, E-A, means deity of crafts, mischief, water, seawater, lake water, and also the words A, Abba, and A-B, Ab, intelligence, the ear of hearing, because that's been coming up all week as well, eyes and ears, and then creation with Nudimud, and I didn't even notice that Nu is here too. All right, so Nu, N-U, coming up here, and that's not why I just brought it up. I brought it up from what I got today, a different word. Likeness, dim, mud, and make bear. And mud, remember, is where land meets water. And the bear was coming up in my past life regression too, as being part bear. There's a southern band of stars also under Ea, called Stars of Ea, and a constellation As Ecolith field. It's in the square Pegasus. I'm probably not saying it right. And the number 40 came up identifying Ea around 2000 before Christ. So Enki, which is interesting because all this came up in Michael Sala's video today, but this was what I did on the 11th. So Enki is En in the Ki, so a lot of different definitions, but En for me, when I started my journey, ended up being code JC. So not only this information I'm giving you, but the reference to JC along the same lines. So En is Lord, Master, that can be Father, and then Ki is Earth, but many other definitions as well. Lord Earth or Kig, K-I-G, which was listed as an undefined definition, and then KUR, which means mound. And I was looking up 40 again because I remember I thought Anu was 60, but I wasn't sure, so I looked that up, and that's why I got to this information. So the Lord of the Kig or Kur mound of Hurrian or Semitic origin. West Semitic root is HYY, also came up, which means life, spring, and running water. And then E-A is Sumerian, meaning the house of water related to the shrine of the god at Eridu, or Eridu, however you want to pronounce it. The Sumerian pantheon was Anu, which was number 60, Antu, which is 55, so they come up in partners. And Lil and Ninlil were 50 and 45. Enki and Ninki as 40 and 35. Nana and Ningel is 30 and 25. And then Utu and Inanna, or Ishtar, came up as 20 and 15. And then Adad and Ninhursag came up as 10 and 5. And those two came up right at 144, which I found very interesting, right? Because they seem to be kind of low on the totem pole. But notice it's Adad, a father, and Ninhursag. I'm just looking at the word, why it was coming up as 144. But the 10 and 5 of the midpoint and the completion into the next, again, the 21 to the 22 comes up with the number 10 as well. So those energies coming up with 144, which we're going to get into more about 144 in these messages too, just not on this date. So Adad and then Ninhursag, which is also Ninma, right? So Ni is a show of power of the mother. And then the Adad is a dad, a father, with the show of power of the mother, which is interesting because that came up with the energies as Michael Salla was talking about Apsu and Tiamat. Same kind of energy. So Kig, K-I-G, when I looked up the definition of that, because I didn't have a definition regarding this, means meat, flesh, and breast, or to look, glare, peek, gaze, and peer. And the other day, peer had come up for me as the peer, right? So the one who pees, and also the P is the housing of the pin, the masculine housing, and also it's the two peas in the pods, referencing the twins coming up. So Enki is the temple Christ mound of vapor, which is also Eden, which also can be in a ship as opposed to the Garden of Eden that we think of, but also a ship can be an underwater ship as well. The earth, pin, key, bone, horn, thorn, dog, and God both come up here, right? The God and reverse of God, dog, and also Mr. Ed coming up here, because I was called God Mr. Ed, where Hu on first and Wat on second illumined energy, creating the third, the cord. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6 go into 12, but not 5. So again, alluding to Enlil, which is 50. And 7, 8, 9 don't go into 12 either. But with 12 and 12 is 24, which references the Queen of Wands, but also Omega and the 24 chromosomes. And the letter X, and I always talk about the X dance of the two twins coming together to dance. 2 12s is 24. And also 12 by 12 is the 144, so coming back to that again as well. Adding together, but also multiplying exponentially, all right? So the 12 is also the hangman, so 2 hanging men or 2 wise persons or 2 combinations of 1, 2, and 1, 2, the masculine and feminine, integrated within, being the 2 12s of the masculine and feminine, the empress and the emperor or 2 lovers times 12, or the hanging man, JC, and again referencing a reference back to Enki and Ea as well, which 12 by 12 then is 144. And 144 comes up for me as well in what I've talked about before, the 14 days, right? The world was made in 7 days, but they needed another week to integrate, was coming up last year for me. And then the 4 nights at the gate in order to take the chariot home, which is another 7 days then leading into the new year. So there was 4 new years. I'm going to bring you up the dates again so you're aware. Because it's a leap year, it's taking us into next year. So the first after January 1st, which is our normal new year, was the 9th of April, and then July 18th, and then October 26th. And 26 has been kind of like crazy too. Oh, that's interesting. The 9 was coming up, and I just told you 4-9, and then 7-18. So 18 should be coming up a lot, and it actually has been this week with the 9. And then we have 26 in October. And then I think it was February 3rd going into 2025 as the next new year. So then George on Michael's video had talked about the masculine being called soul and the earth or the mother energy being Sophia. And so soul and Sophia was coming up as SOL and SOP. Instead of PHIA, it was coming up as EA, as the Ia or Enki energy here, which also, remember that EN was coming, is my code for JC, so N key is JC key as well. So soul and Sophia comes up as so, and Fia and L coming together as feel. And file at PHIAL means small bowl, cup or flask or vial, round saucer, to keep or put. And they were from the pantheon of Saturn and Jupiter, Saturnus and Iupater. And the son of Helios drove the sun's chariot for a day and lost control of their steeds and was struck down by Zeus, which can be paralleled to Enlil, and their thunderbolt to prevent the earth from being on fire. And I was just getting the energy of the gifting. It was actually a gift. From, is it, I'm blanking out on the P name of the one who gifted fire, but you know what I'm talking about. So feel comes up. There's no PHEAL, so I looked up feel with an F, and that means faithful and loyalty, allowance, hayfield, to hide, pass on, advance, to pass, trust, sow, to cleave, enter, penetrate, cozy, clean, neat, safe, downy, and smooth. And what was also coming up here, in medical writing, you write with as a C with a line across the top, and then without is S with a line across the top. So again, there's that energy of the Christ and Sophia here as well. And the C is also the representing the arc from one point to another, the one and the I, right? So an arc from point to point, and the arc is also the arc as in the ship, the bridge, the rainbow, and the leap, the Christ consciousness, and the whispering bench all come up for the letter C. And then remember the S is the energy of Sophia and the sine wave and salt of the earth. So, different ways to clue you into the energies it is. But C does not include S. And C is half of S. So S includes C, which it's half of, but C does not include S, right? So the father leaving the feminine energy or the mother unrequited love, because he needs to connect with Source Creator directly in order to come together with the Sophia, who's already got that birthing energy in her, that gift. So soul and Sophia is so-el and so-feel. The energy of wisdom, of Ea, a part of Sophia, and Lil, a part of soul. So Enlil being like their father, and then Enki being like his mother. Very interesting. So El broke the ray of light so that we could see the rainbow. And Ea then could fix it, right? He was the scientific one. Very smart and kind of impish, very knowledgeable about genetics, and also the energy of the magician, right? And of course, their father was An, or Anu, the Anunnaki. So you have so light, or soul, and so feel, of Sophia. Her love is the wisdom of his light. And Enlil broke into rainbow so that Ea had to fix and bring back to the light. PHEA and L, the housing of the human Ea and El, the brothers, of soul and Sophia, or so-el and Soph-Ea. So bending the light, which is cracking the light or breaking the light in order to create the colors that we wouldn't see otherwise, And the wisdom of ash, which means bright light in Pleiadian, according to Elena Denon, or love light together. Curious George wants to see what's in it. Remember the word it, because that came up in my Sophia post as well, about her shh being quiet initially before word came. And so she said, shh, it, shut it, but came out as shit, which is also poop, right? Once you become human, you now have to weed, which is poop, is clearing out the extraneous. So, so while Enlil bends the light or holds the light down, Ea, little rascal, breaks it to see what's around and what resounds or sounds. Enlil then is seen as the bad guy for holding them down, while Enki is the good doctor, experiments to see how to fix them. So in other words, causing pain in order to achieve bliss, or taking apart to see how to put it back together, or how it goes back together. To divide in order to unify, right? They go hand in hand. You can't do one without the other. And Enki also ultimately means king of the hill, which also comes up in another message today. And the word ki is so many different energies. It's the chi, it's the bone, it's the key to get in the door, so to speak. It comes up as who and what, the tree and wood, spirit, feeling, sense, air, gas, nature, disposition, steam, vapor, which is then Eden, the key to Eden, as well as opportunity, workings of the heart and the mind, ground, earth, netherworld, dustpan, dog, you, a pin. So there's my pin technical drawing with the P being the housing of the masculine, the heavenly stand, the lady, the tortoise, to say hello, sing praises, delivery, eulogy, to load, compress, to be, think, parrot, scared, and disgusted, and ground. And there's a few others there too. As we resound, or resound, word. So then the next page of the shaman deck was coming up, and the energy of the, this was at 404, which is the two fathers and the source energy between, so two brothers, so to speak, of the 8, which is the infinite creator. The underlying energy of the 20 of Feast of Plenty, and then 31 in the hand. Hand has been coming up big time too. The word hand, which is, we're supposed to be the hand of God, and hand equals love, hand equals 9, love equals 9, all of these words that equal 9 were coming up. 28 is the hollow bone, and then 32, jeweled web. 25, the Knight of Wands, Garden of Venus, came up with the 23, Fortune's Wheel, and the 25 of the Feast of Plenty, where the heart in hand was coming up as the chaos of life, the feathers on the horns on the twin flame path. And feathers have been coming up for me all week too. Horns or antlers. The journey of the jeweled web of connectivity, and the Knight of Wands, angels, with rest and renewal, right, in the Garden of Venus. The angels and bones in the Garden of Venus. The King of Wands with luck and the right timing, decisions and their consequences. Sharing one stone with bees and crystals, which bees were coming up as the ones who pollinate, but also to be, and to be Christ-like, crystal, or crystalline. So the first card out was the 43 again of the 3 of Cups, of overflow, overwhelm, and plenty, and the Feast of Plenty, and too much of a good thing. The 21 of first breath at the beginner's mind, after a night out or too much to eat, needing to come full circle and start over again. The 1 of a tidy house, where the divine masculine comes up as the magician with clarity and organization. And then the 36 of Atlas, lost in space, needing, right, because then that's the masculine energy of getting everything in order, needing direction though, after cleaning up a tutor, a tree house. So somebody could be using a tutor here as well. Or multiple homes at one tree. So again, they're bringing up the garden reference, which I didn't get this before because I was just getting that message this morning. So multiple homes at one tree house or room underground protected by the roots. A humble dark space as I was cutting up the roots of my bamboo, right? Because my neighbor has a ton of bamboo, but I don't mind that so much, except for the fact that it grows into my yard and all over my grass, so I have to really keep on it to keep it back. So, and I was just getting bamboozled, someone being bamboozled. So at 5 o'clock on the dot here, which 4, 5, and 9 were coming up here, and 9 to 5 kept coming up this week as well. The 55 farther gate with the 26 of gathering around. 55 is the truth. 26 is my Newton's cradle, so to speak. It's also the Page of Wands. And the 3 of the Empress, or the Mother Earth, and the Benefactor, with the 4 of the Cat ER pillar. So we have the 3 and the 4 of the Mother and the Father, and then the 55 of the truth and the farther gate, which is like an airlock. It's 2 gates in a cave with a crack in it, and there's that light bending to become cracked or broken in order to see what's inside and understand how it goes back together. The Page of Wands, power of community, the Empress's grace and generosity in the mushrooms, so the 2 elders sitting in the mushroom watching all of this going down, enjoying their children and grandchildren, so to speak. The Empress and the Emperor with the cat with opportunity to crack the rock open, gate to gate, a bold step forward with little illumined mushrooms around. So again, this energy of generations. But now the children being illumined of light, really being seen now. And I'd also noticed mushrooms in my grass at my driveway yesterday, which I'd never seen before in my lawn. Drifter came in to repair the veil and forgive. The Page of Swords straddling worlds with the heart in the universal hands of the children as the Empress and the Emperor present the truth here. So this could also be parents presenting truth to their children, perhaps about their ancestry or about any secrets that have been kept. So that could be coming out as well. And the power of the community was just coming up. The cat and the mouse watching the fairy realms. And I'm also getting cat and mouse is coming up as cat and moose, right? Like the cat as in the masculine energy, because it comes up as the caterpillar or the ER pillar. And the mouse also is coming up with moose, the one with the antlers, watching the fairy realms. And Bullwinkle has been coming up a lot too. The 5 of closing doors to the cave, to be hollow, Bullwinkle, and teachable. And remember, Winkle, KLE is key. So Winkle is like the wind key. And here we have the bull. And bull is BU11. And we talked about chit today too. So be the wind key and be teachable. As the 9 of the hermit who dances on one foot in a balancing act, tiptoeing around Bullwinkle with door closed all the time. 5 to 9 via 28, which is the 2 of Wands or twin flame energy, and the night shift, the freedom to hollow out and become compassion. Green and new, student of old bones, digging up what's been left behind. As 37 King of Cups, magician's sword, with confidence in your magic, with the 8 of the crown games and right use of power, the 57 of the unmarked trail of revelation, labyrinth of screws, green, and pressure. Just because it's pure and green doesn't mean they aren't applying pressure to the coal, the stone, the rock. 2 screws trying to come together with one little block between them. 3 and 4 with the truth to the Hierophant, which also can represent the establishment. 28 of the choice of path or twin flame energy, which that could be an address to. The Hermit's knocking, the King of Cups with the sword of truth. And learning right use of power, even when they're under pressure. So there's this energy of, learning how to not only stay in your heart in that present moment, But even when you're out in the world under pressure, extreme pressure for a long, long period of time, which is the dark night of the soul journey. Okay? And then I'd watched a double feature with my son, which was The Great Night in Pop, which I've seen both of these before, but I wanted to watch it with him, and Dark Waters, which was all about the contamination of the West Virginia waters. And again, coming up as light and dark. The Great Night in Pop light comes with the dark waters of the dark. And again, the energy of the Great Night in Pop is like fireworks. And then the dark waters that come after. And again, that balance. So the closer you stay to the center, the less duality there is. All right, so now we're on the 12th. Spirit's connecting with me. And I did my 50 to 0 when I woke up. And I tried to sleep, but I couldn't when I tried to go back to sleep, because usually I'll fall right back to sleep if I do the countdown. And then 39 here came up again too. First I woke at 7:42. 42 is the 2 of Cups, 7 is the Chariot, and the Key. And then 9:39, 39 is the Knight of Cups, and the 9 is the Hermit, and again, compassion, and the 1 and the All. So I was guided to open up my numerology book, which I haven't opened in a while. And I opened it, this is at 1024, which is the Wheel of Fortune, and the 24, which is Omega, which is the 24 chromosome pairs, which is the seeders are supposed to be 24. That seeded 24 different races in our DNA. And then I opened to page 110 to 111 in my numerology book, the Divine Triangle. Numerology and the Divine Triangle, and there's a Divine Triangle pictured below. Oh look, it's by Faith, by Faith Javane and Dusty Bunker. Right, so it's like the faith of the feminine, and then Dusty Bunker is like a war energy, right? So I opened to the Old Testament page, and it was the next couple pages were about the numbers 1 to 10 and the different histories of 1 to 10 and what the numbers mean. The science of a name and numbers, that the capital A is the Aleph, the life breath, power source, Beth being the house and shelter. So I'm not going to go through all of those because they're talking about the Hebrew and then other, the biblical 1 through 10 and all that kind of energy. What was coming up, something that stood out to me, the number 4 is solidity under biblical, steadfastness. The river out of Eden to the man, lion, ox, eagle, so the 4 heads, the 4 corners of the earth, so to speak. And the river out of Eden, and the man, lion, ox, and eagle. Right, so we have man, we have eagle, which is Ea's glee. The lion is the lyran, and the ox is kisses and hugs from source energy. That was the message just coming through now. But the number 7 was also coming through because it's the trumpets of the ram's horns. On the 7th day, compass only 7 times, the priests blow the trumpets and all shout like a celebration, and then the wall of the city shall fall down flat. The sound energy was coming up here as what took the walls of Jericho down, or the borders, right? The weed, taking the weed. Sound is the weeding. Sound horns 7 by 7 or 49, sounding exponentially. On the 7th day, 7 times, and the walls of Jericho shall fall down, is just what I'm getting now. 7 horns, and then 7 by 7 is the 49, sounding exponentially. which then came up the 56 number with the 2 of Swords, knowing without knowing, which 56 reflects 65, which is the King of Pentacles, which was coming up as the King of the Hill, or Enki. So the 56 of one who goes within for peace of mind, to stay balanced within the mind, knowing without knowing, reflecting the King of the Hill. So if they're reflecting, one is the sound of silence and one is not, right? So 56 is definitely the silent one, or the secret keeper, reflecting the 65 of the King of Pentacles, who is not. So apparently he's a very good speaker. So then they did the numbers of the New Testament, and this was really cool because the day was the 12th, 5/12, and it was quoting from the New Testament, Matthew 12:25, and that day 5/12/24 adds to 25. So it was both the 12 and 25. And Matthew 12:25, along with Matthew in 18:19, which is the moon and the sun, is the house divided against itself shall not stand, but if two agree, it shall be done. And then hydrogen was coming up, H2O, the hand, H plus and H plus plus. And I had come back to this information because hand, the numerology for hand is H is 8, A is 1, N is 14, or you could use 5 if you want as the condensed number, and then D is 4. So it's literally 81144. And 81 in the numerology book is completion of the cycle. So after age 81, you basically have room to choose at that point. So the number adds up to 27, which is the Ace of Wands. So hand in hand is 27 and 27, which is 54, the Page of Swords, the message. So two flames, hand in hand, comes the message. So really cool the way that they always come together in a significant message. I don't ever question, like, is it gonna come together, right? It just, you have to follow your knowing without, it's knowing without knowing. So when you have 81144 and then you reflect it, it comes up as 81144444118. So here we have the 81 completion and 18 on the other side, which is also the number of Chi and the moon. And then we have 1 on either side of 4444, which 444 is considered the angelic realms. And 4444 is also Atlas times 2, and it's 16, which is today's date, the 16th, which is the tower energy. And 4 is all about manifestation on Earth, right? Surviving on this planet. And 16 are sudden events. So you have the 811 and 118. So we're not 911, but 811 comes up here with the 4444 and then 118. So, and I had posted my gifting the moon when I wrote this as well. There was a cloud picture I found from January 1st, 2023, the new year last year, not this leap year. And it was literally, the clouds made a person literally holding the moon. So you got to watch that Instagram. It's really cool with the music. And the music was holding the moon. The lyrics were perfect to the way that the person was holding the moon. It looked like a person holding a flashlight, but it was the moon. And they're going back and forth. It was really cool, and it gives you a really cool feeling. My Instagrams are, you have to read them because I forward them to Facebook as well. But if you don't watch the Instagram, you don't get the music behind it, and it's very activational. All right, so that day, 12 and 25 and 9 were coming up like crazy on the 12th. And number 4 of the Emperor and the Father, which is now coming back today as the father wound. We have the 4 and 7 were sacred numbers in the New Testament, which represent the square and the cross. And the square and the cross together are the window, which I just actually did some decor on a door in my bathroom, which was just an old painted door, and I wanted to make it look more finished. And I literally have the windows and the H on there of the hydrogen and then 2 pluses. And that's literally coming up as this energy here, as H++ was also coming up on a different day. So the square and the plus is the window, but it's also the gift. And then 40 came up under 4 as well as the completed cycle of retreat from worldly things in preparation for something better. 6 is coming up as harmony. And the H, one of the original H letters before it became H was like a ladder on its side with 3 rungs. And that was coming up as significant, but that's also like Roman numeral 3. 6 is harmony, 7 is rest, just quickly from this last New Testament list. 8 was called involution and evolution. And Buddha came up with that. The ebb and flow, infinity, rhythm, strength and confidence there. Number 9 is completion, regeneration, and revelation. The bread and the wine, which is coming up as the 3 and the 6. As I just told you, the H came up as the 3, the Roman numeral 3, in Proto-Sinaitic. And then the wine comes up as number 6. Pick up sticks. And now we have the 369 of regeneration. With communion goes regeneration. Right? Calm communion is calm union. The Holy Grail and the Holy Communion is the calm union. With that goes regeneration. And then 666 and 144,000 they describe, right? You'd think of that as the devil and the light of the 144,000 illumination. But they both add up to 9, and 666 adds to 18. And so do a lot of other words. Love equals 18:9, and hand equals 18:9. So the 666 is the same thing. It is the 6 of the love, the lovers, and the 66 of the Queen of Pentacles, and the 666 of the moon, which also references outer powers affecting us, right? Because the moon was brought in to our system a long, long time ago, which affected, it came in for a reason, but also caused other issues. The seal on their foreheads came up with these as well in Revelation 9:4, so there's the 9 and 4 again. And then the number of the beast, of course, 666. So lost, 666, and saved, the 144,000, the dark and the light. The humanity or the hand of God, where hand is 18, love is 18. And then again, the 9th, they're all 9 numbers. The 9th hour on the cross, it is finished, John 19:30, which equals 49. There's the 7 by 7. And it just goes on. And the H plus is considered the first that becomes the proton. It's considered acidic as opposed to alkaline. Alkaline is OH as opposed to H plus. So basic and acidic were coming up there. And there was a website that it led to that predicted proton states. All right. So I also was guided into Open Our Cosmic Origin, which I haven't read the whole thing. I don't read most of my books completely. I go to them as I'm being guided to them. And I was guided to page 116 to 117, and as anything I bring up, it has nothing to do with what I resonate with. It's just the lines in it that I'm being guided to, okay? And on the page that I opened to, there was only 5 lines left in the chapter there. And it said, Orion thus brings peace and freedom to not only the entire Orion region, but to the other parts of the galaxy that have been controlled by the Draconian Empire. However, before we attempt to uncover our own planet's forbidden history, though the human race came to our planet, we must first understand some events that transpired in the Pleiades star system, since our solar system belongs . belongs to that. And then the next page, 118, began chapter 9, so there's that 9 coming up again, and the connection to the Pleiades. And again, he just went into a brief history of our galaxy, part 3. So again, there's lots of different versions that are coming in of our evolution. He talked about Etherian Sirians as well. Who failed at inheriting the lower material vehicle, or in other words, our avatar. Right, being able to ground onto Earth and not being able to ground onto Earth, staying in the etheric body. So, and again, you can purchase any of those books if you're interested. All right, so that's our cosmic origin. Okay. And I have mixed feelings about that, and also his story goes against. He calls what the books call Enki and Enlil. He talks the opposite, that Enlil is Enki and vice versa. And again, maybe they're both true, and that could be different timelines. And again, everything is all just dark and light, which we're all a part of. So it's not about judging anything, but just what you resonate with. And what you resonate may be different than what I resonate with, and that doesn't mean it's right or wrong, okay? So then I went into A Gift from the Stars, which is Elena Danan's book at 1239 to page 280, which is 0, source backing up the 28 of the 2 of Wands, or twin flames. And that page was all about the Antarctic Alliance, the Seacars and Nazis, and 1955 deals. So there's that 55 of the truth coming up again. And also the abduction network down there. Okay. But again, check out my Instagram posts as well, because you're missing out if you don't check them out, because they're really, some of them are really beautiful, the way they're coming together with the music. Okay. All right, so next we are here. Okay. So now on the 13th, which that day was 13 and added up to 26, which is that page of Wands, or what I call Newton's Cradle. And I did my countdown 50 to 1 that morning. And I again intended into my biggest block. So when I went into this message, I saw some hairy big feet again, like I told you my last past life regression, that being that I went into. So it's coming up as the same being, but more casual this time. My chimp, like the planet of the apes energy, mother was there. So it wasn't just me. I was seeing me with my mother, my chimp mother, with a dress on, was there with clothes on, a dress, as she looked lovingly upon me. Her son, a human abomination. So this was my feelings about myself, not her. That I was an abomination to her. Like, how could I do this to her, right? And again, that was connecting again with the abominable snowman who befriended Rudolph and the Misfits, and again, the Island of Misfit Toys. I'm very hairy with monkey hairline and body, but fur is more like a bear. It's thicker, like my family line, literally. A cuddly teddy bear, which is my daughter's dog, Teddy Bear, who knows what it's like to live in the woods alone, a bear, and to have humans run away from them, right? So if I'm both bear and human, you know how unbearable that would be. Unable to resist my appetite and wanting to play, which would be hurtful, right? A bear's paw is going to kill you. I didn't have prehensile feet like monkeys, since my toes were webbed, but because my feet were so big and strong, I could hold on to a branch between them. I was very strong, yet I was a mama's boy. My mother saw me as like the baby chimp. And this, literally, in my life, was very traumatizing to me. When I watched the Escape from the Planet of the Apes, the last image of the movie is a baby chimp in a cage at a circus. And the last thing you just hear is, "Mama, Mama." And it just, even watching it now, because I was very young when I watched that, it was very traumatizing to me. The mother saw me like the baby chimp. My mother, in this life that I'm seeing, in my past life regression here, was seeing me like that little baby chimp in the circus cage, left alone at the end in Escape from the Planet of the Apes, which was 1971. So I would have been 9 years old. And there's that 9 again. Which at the time I saw that movie, it hurt me very deeply. And I remembered that for a long, long time. It stayed with me. So obviously this is a wound from this lifetime. So May 26th, 1971 was its release. And May 26th is coming up now. So you may feel something very specific on the 26th relating to these kind of energies. Like other movies that also traumatized me as I'm coming out of this, like Jaws and Willard and Frogs. How many of you were traumatized by that? I always pick my feet up in the ocean now after Jaws. And Willard, I was terrified with Willard. We had our air conditioning vents in the ceiling when I was growing up. And after Willard, I was sure that the mice in our attic, which were just field mice who were very cute, but I'd never seen them. And I swore they were going to come through the vent and get me at night when I was sleeping, so I would suffocate myself to sleep at night, putting my covers around my head. And then I also, in junior high, saw this movie Frogs, which is about, it was a double feature with Blackula. And Frogs was about the frogs communicating with all the other animals on this island to get the humans. So, and again, here's the frog referencing the frog to prince, or your masculine. And just now watching the trailer of the baby monkey, when I looked it up online to remember which movie it was from in the Planet of the Apes, and I teared up right away as soon as the baby said mama. So now scared to go in the ocean and put my feet down, right? Scared of mice in the attic that would come through the air vent, and the unfriendly frogs who would give me warts. Okay, so all of these are connections. As I look up at the clock, monkey see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. I forgot I had wings in this lifetime. I was too ashamed to accept them as my own, but then realized I could fly away at any time. So in a sense, it was my freedom as well. But if I deny my wings, I keep myself prisoner. My loving swan and pelican lives remembered, but then I remembered my eagle life, because my swan and pelican lives I've remembered were beautiful, very peaceful, perhaps some might consider boring lives. But in my eagle life, I was a masculine, traumatized eagle, male alone and crying through the skies, longing for my partner who was now gone. The worst pain I ever felt, until I remembered being a rock in the ground for millions and billions of years, only to be dug up, poked and prodded and cut up and polished, like having your skin sanded off. But I also realized I had become the coal under extreme pressure, birthing into my diamond state, stronger stone than any other, and beautiful beyond measure. I remembered from my first harmonic egg experience the eagle, swan, and happy Japanese harem, Chinese harem in servitude, which was not happy, and finally the lamb that was carted away from their loved one to the slaughterhouse, who then became the skinned man in child's pose. And this was how they were showing me at that time how the human started. Bowed legs came up, knock knees, thick in the wrist. Oh, this was, I didn't write it down. I think there was something I was looking up that caused these different things, right? Softened bones. Softened bones causes bowed legs, and I think it was coming up from vitamin D deficiency, right? Because it causes problems with absorbing calcium and phosphorus as well. So bowed legs, knocked knees, thickened wrists, antlers, breastbone projection. Oh, ankles, thick wrists or ankles, breastbone projection, delayed growth, motor skills, pain in spine, pelvis, legs, muscle weakness, and curvature of the spine, as well as seizures, which you wouldn't normally think of. So I thought that was important to bring up. It was from mayoclinic.org. Oh, rickets. Rickets. Ah, this came up. This was so interesting. So when I talked about the frogs and warts, and then rickets came up, which is the softening of bones in children due to vitamin D deficiency to maintain calcium and phosphorus. But the last names of people, young girls I did gymnastics with, were coming up, because wart was coming up as Wartenberg, and then rickets, and then Jasper was coming up as well as house child, and then bar, and referencing being behind bars, or the house child, right, required to stay in the house. And Jasper, and Asper was coming up. Urgent JASP. J as P as the housing. And whatever comes up for you, if you could post that in the comments, that would be great. But it can also cause celiac, inflammatory bowel disease, cystic fibrosis, and kidney problems, which can also cause issues absorbing vitamin D. Okay, so then I pulled some SIRIAN cards, and I did take a picture of this for you guys. All right, so this randomly, I just was going to pull a card from the SIRIAN Starseed deck, this deck here, and this is the underlying energy here in a fan, like flowering out, and then these two rows came out, and I found them very significant in the way they were coming together. So this was right at 12 o'clock too, p.m. The underlying energy was the Nine of Pentacles. Oh, I forgot to tell you too, in my meditation prior to the video, I was also then seeing the owl and the wise owl's eye, and then that became my own eye. And to trust, and then we were talking again about using your information and other people's information, and then weeding out the discrepancies between, right? Which then, what's the word that's coming up? It's like streamlining. So here again, the owl's coming up. The white owl, you know, the pure owl, the pure wisdom. And then the treasure chest in the garden of crystals. The first energy of the Five of Swords, the Ace of Pentacles, and the Five of Cups, as the frog prince juggling 3 and saving 2 for later. High on a rock by the ocean or small island and faceless. And that came up in one of my Instagram messages too, or in my Sophia message, right? Then he came, after she was in the silence, he came, no face, no name, but he loved. As the diamond in the rough births from the rock, exposing their diamond light, but then causing them to fall back into the woods, shamed and crying. Tossing 3 cups in the creek, and 2 cups popped up in front of them on a rock, but they can't face them with regret and sadness. From just thoughts, these orbs have become real emotions of a real live boy, grounded or shipwrecked again. No longer out to sea, but a small creek tributary with big trees and lots of families to deal with, a very woody situation, seeing the woods through the family trees. And again, there's a reference too of living in the water and living on the land. As the 10 of Wands Atlas holds a torch with the 9 of Wands blown out, or the 9 wands blown out, but 1 is left, right, of the 10 of Wands Atlas, 1 flame. Atlas holding the torch, climbing towards the light above, held by someone they can barely see, and stonewalled. It looks like a man, but it's hard to tell, with the writings on the wall, taking one step at a time to observe the symbols, the signs of sound of silence on the foundation below the stone walls. Just another brick in the wall to silence them all, and 7 steps seen, but much more ahead. As they got to the light, there was a beautiful spread in marble stone hall, 6 rays streaming in on Thai service or vested Asian man, and service for 9. Multiple doorways to get to the light, now streaming in from outside. So now they know they're above ground. Passing the torch that's now become this little light o' mine, as the page of swords or orbs continues up through the snow-covered evergreen hills. Or is that the one holding the moon that I just posted on Instagram, gifting the moon to the sunshine? The 9 of Pentacles with wise owl, just waiting for the one to add to their collection. The underlying energy in that picture was the Lovers, and this was at 2:18, which actually just came up, right? Because I started the video at 2:22. There was something that had come up at 2:18. Well, I guess that'll come up again when I get there. The underlying energy of the 9 of Pentacles. Oh, and when I was lighting the incense over there, I lit my thumb. It didn't actually go on fire, but it felt like it. And that's my left hand, my left thumb. The 9 of Pentacles after the Lovers, Ascension, Sage of Flames, the 6 of Wands, the Shadow, and the 9 of Pentacles. After the Transition or Death card, 2 of Crystals, of surrendering to all that is, the Divine Justice with Libra and feeling their way through. And remember, Virgo to Libra is the midpoint of the astrological chart. The Queen of Cups in the falls or lush jungle as the 4 orbs at the beach or on break, taking a rest, or in 5D connection, the sleeping prophets, thoughts, creating the Ace of Wands, the flame, the torch destined, and Libra again, to close the spiral and walk away from the 8 of Cups, all perfectly aligned. Batman either leaving the beach or desert, not sure if they're walking toward the sea or the land. Ah, the Lovers' Rainbow Bridge and Kermit. The Lovers, the Dreamers, and me. And also ME, capital ME means gift of civilization. And a genie with a sense connect. And the world in their hand. Perhaps a Gemini or Pisces Queen of Wands, acing the NS of Christa Sophia connection as Christ consciousness. The Queen of Wands and 6 of Wands, one with torch leading 5 other flames by example, of joining the light and the flame to shine light from within so they can see too. Sophia in the shadow before he said word, or twins begin. Orchestrating a woe road, which is word, the woe road or the war divine, a 2-vine access spin, seeing each other in the web and how big their shadow is, and how the walls have ears. Remember, the walls come tumbling down with sound. How the walls have ears, established, meant. So establishment is coming up as the established mentee with intentions of their own. But Sophia's been there since the beginning and knows all the tricks. The shadow, as she says shh again, and shadow, creating the word, the sword or S word of course, shh it, quiet. And then the shaman is coming up as tee-hee, as in laughing, tee-hee, and then shadow of shh. And ado, or ad-ow, which is fuss, shh, fuss, brother, worth, doing, ado, a dow to be worth, to thrive and prosper, and dow with sailing vessel, dove or pigeon, and Burmese knife, probably for his collection, deaf, dumb, ox, stag, and hart, of doughy and dewy matter, or AD, or after death owie, And Sophia had, ow, right? Shadow, shh, had an ow, a cry of pain, or shout, a musical emphasis. And again, I was talking about my Instagram and how the music comes together with the words. The younger brother and the letter O, they too, U, turtle, water, surprise, and U as in a lamb, E-W-E, or sheep, a female sheep, lovers leading the world through the shadow of the valley to get to the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, or a treasure chest of crystals, and a beautiful garden with wise bird who reflects sovereign catch. Straight to the top with a very grounded message to bring, with Capricorn influence, ending the war within and birthing through labor pains to pass the torch to the light, light to raise, and raise to the 9 of Cups with all 4 elements integrated. So again, bringing the 9 of Pentacles together with the 9 of Cups, or the 2 independents, the sovereigns. The Spirit's connecting very strongly right now. So the transition after the Hanging Man and the Moon and the 5 of Pentacles here, at 2:55, which is the divine feminine energy of the High Priestess, or the higher self, and the 55 of the Truth, Excalibur, with Pisces, Capricorn, Cancer, and Scorpio, and the Hanging Man, or the Hanged Man at the new moon. We had the Tower, the Ace of Cups, the 4 of Cups in transition, the Hanging Man at the new moon with the 5 of Pentacles, Hermit, in the Mary Magdalene cave above the group, and a sudden event or epiphany of new love, which is that energy today of the Tower, of new love, self-love, or spiritual love coming from Sirius, when you're an island to yourself, in the middle of the ocean or stranded at sea. Coming, the self-love, new love, spiritual love comes from Sirius when you're an island to yourself and stranded at sea. The Hermit through the portal of the water signs, surrendering to all that is. The justice of the Queen of Pentacles on break or beach, ignited by destiny to take a walk, to go within to Lover's Rainbow Bridge, to another world to see the big picture, and come full circle through the senses. The Queen of Cups crowning herself, putting her thinking cap on to lead from the heart by example through dark night. As the dark night to Independence Day, the 9 of Pentacles post-war within, making a breakthrough, and a small breakdown perhaps for Atlas, the masculine energy, to get to the light of day to receive Hercules, her harvest, all in white, dressed warm and to the 9s, in a winter wonderland, gifting the moon's light after breaking through to the other side, and done with the Shadow Valley, the Queen of Cups and the Queen of Wands, along with the 9 of Pentacles and the 9 of Cups, sovereigns, with a message as the Page of Swords. The April 23's Scorpio full moon, which was at 7:49 Eastern Daylight Time, revealing secrets dark and deep, or full transformations, very black and white. The Instagram I'd posted that day on the 13th had sexual undertones, perhaps preparation, having to greet the shadow above. Related to the new moon, November 23 Scorpio, right, because they always comes full circle, perhaps looking at a leadership position. Someone's arrived, quote unquote. So that was coming in. Someone's arrived, leaving the dark 9s, the 9 of Swords and the 9 of Wands behind, leaving the wounded warrior path for that leap of faith. Remember the human in child's pose, skinned, leaving that path of the wounded warrior to go on the fool's path with an open heart and a leap of faith. As the 9 of Pentacles and 9 of Cups climb to the top together, or searching for Canadian evergreens, or 4 seasons here. The spring may be full of abundance, but summer you could be feeling birth pangs here, leaving the wounded warrior behind 8:31 for a special celebration perhaps in September, and then off to climb Mount Everest. And that was 3:33. 323. Oh, and then it was 338 to 39, Mount Everest to World Atlas. Evergreen came up and Everest. Tibetan, China, and Nepal border is Mount Everest. And Evergreen was coming up, right? So we have Evergreen and Everest, but also Ever are, like Toys R Us, Ever are Est. And Est means east, and is also Esther. But also my name, it comes up as Eve Est, which is, my name is Evelyn Esther, which was really cool. Evergreen and EST, Ev, Erg, ERG, regarding EN, which is code for Lord, Master, and then also my code for JC. So Eve Rest, or Ev R Est, or Eve R Est. And then the rest of my name came up, since it was coming up as my first two names, Eve and Est, as Evelyn and Esther. I put Lynn and her together, because Lynn is also regarding the waterfall. That came up with the heartbeat, Lynn, right? It's the lighting up in the waterfall. The waterfall is her, right? The lighting up is him. The waterfall is her. And Lynn Her, Lynher, is actually a river in England, East Cornwall to the River Tamar, at Hamas to Plymouth Sound. And again, this parallel to Plymouth Rock. Lynn Her. And I want to get Ben Hur. Oh, they're coming up. Ben Hur. So Plymouth Sound is a deep inlet in the English Canal near Plymouth. It looked like it was middle south coast of England. And then the Cornwall, corn is also horn, so the Hornwall, and again the 7 horns coming up, and Devon, about 6 kilometers, through the largest dockyard in Western Europe, on the northwestern side. In center is Plymouth Breakwater, harbor for anchoring ships and protection. It's like a natural protection right there. With 23, so there's the 2 and the 3 coming up again, meter lighthouse on the west, and 9-meter beacon with spherical cage that sailors can save themselves in on the top. So here's the cage of the little monkey on top, and it was coming up with the capital E as well because it's east. So the lighthouse on the west, and again we talked about lighting up of the masculine, and the waterfall on the other side of the E. He's got the 23-meter lighthouse, and the feminine has the 9-meter beacon with spherical cage on top, right? The baby monkey, to save them from the water. Drake Island is north, and Drake's Channel to Devonport. The bridge is a shallow reef. To Drake's Island in the Cornish mainland. And it can be only 1 meter to walk through it or wade through it, but it also can be 5 meters, which then you wouldn't be able to walk through it. You'd have to swim through it. So it took me to Eve again, which is EVE, and E, capital E means temple, and also means 1 equal and congruent to, and it's also a Merlin at the top of the E tower. And V is creation. So we have 2 E's around the V of creation. When you push them together and reverse the second E as they're reflecting the V, it literally becomes this butterfly. So I just wanted to show you the visual. And so EVE is 2 temples with Shadow Valley between. Ever goes around, comes around. To be, eat, to birth, raise, and give out, which is life basically. And then the word Mind, M-Y-N-D, which literally is my end, but also means basically what goes around comes around. And then Saint Elvira came up, which is supposed to be the place where Jesus is buried. And it's a rest stop on the way to the French Riviera, where one story is that Jesus and Mary with Sarah, they were going to visit Sarah at their daughter at the Riviera, but after the crucifixion, that Jesus had to stop there because he wasn't doing well, and ended up being buried at Saint Elvira. To England and France, Saint Elvira, and I've been in Saint Elvira when I was there with the Mary Magdalene retreat with Mercedes Kirkle. And that was the place where I felt like a little kid. And I usually feel nauseous in ancient places because there's a lot of negative energy in them, but not this little chapel. Was beautiful and light. And this is the one where I had seen myself as a child on the left, and then I went over to discover that energy to find one of the tiles on the floor had an imprint of a child on her knees. But also, you could see it in two ways. You could see it as the little girl, but you could also see it as Mary and Jesus sitting together. So it was very cool energy. And there was a note in the wall right there too, because it was all stone. And the altar in that chapel is supposed to be the most powerful spot, but I was guided to this other spot, which then we found out later at lunch from these people who are writing about these places, that was actually the main portal of the church where I was standing. The altar is an offering to the moon here. It's coming up as Saint Salvira. The altar, which is on a main energy line, is an offering to the moon. And so I picked a card from the past. I picked a card from the deck, and it came up as the Cosmic Heart, which is number 9, and then the number 5 card, the Gold Ray of Christ. And I think that's my Ascension deck, this one here. And here we have 9 to 5 again as well. But Cosmic always comes up for me as my father, Kos, and Mikey, our Aussie when I was growing up, but also Kos at the mic. And Kos is also one of the Greek islands. The Cosmic Heart and the Gold Ray, or eye, so the heart's coming up as the ear, right, and here, and then the ray is the eye of Christ. 9 to 5, what a way to make a living. And COS as Kos also comes up as the Christ O Sophia energy, the Christ consciousness. And also there's a Kos island in Greek, but there's also a Evia or Evia island as well, which is me and my father. So it's just really cool stuff that have come up. All right, so then I get to the read on the table. All right, so let me move this out of the way. And move you out of the way. Okay, so this was on the 13th, and I cut the SIRIAN Starseed deck at 7:09, and I finished at 7:19 to 20, which is the Sun, and then the Judgment card. 7 and 9 is the Chariot and the Hermit. And the major arcana here were Alchemy, Tower, Higher Self, Hanging Man, Solar Deity, and prior to the read, Transition, which is the Death card, and Justice came up. And after the read over here, the Star came up. So there were 3 cups, 2 swords, 1 pentacle. So here we have 3, 2, 1 leap, or 3, 2, 1, 0 and blast off. And then we have the Knight of Pentacles as the main character in the read here, who's right here. And then after the read, we had the Queen of Wands, King of Swords, and King of Pentacles over here. And then prior to the read, in the underlying energy, we have the King of Wands, Knight of Wands, and Page of Cups. The numbers came up. We had double 2s and double 8s. So there's that 28 again of the twin flame energy, the choice of path. The 22 is the Fool with an open heart and a leap of faith. And the 2 8s are the crazy 8s dancing, both integrating their masculine and feminine. And we had the number 12 of the Hanging Man, 23 of the King of Wands, in a lesser sense, 3, 4, 5D, and then 57 of the 3 of Swords, 78 of the 10 of Pentacles, and then 8, 10, which is 0, supporting the source energy, supporting 81 as being that end of the cycle, and 81 is also 9 times 9. So the code line here, the whole, 1 second, I locked my son out. Just give me 1 second to let him in. Okay. And Teddy's very excited. He loves his Uncle Chew. Okay, so back to the code line here. We have co-creation, a sudden event, top dog rocket, acing alchemy of the 8 dance, of course. The solar DT was coming up, so I don't know if someone's dealing with DTs, but it came up in different ways as well. Actually, there's a solar company called DT, and the Department of Crystals also coming up. So again, the crystalline energy, the Christ-like energy, and just crystals in general. Rocket ships came up, and again, there's lots of different rockets going up in space right now. The Vulcan versus SpaceX 9, and just talking about the different rocket companies and how they're competing to get their ships up there. Ether also came up as an infinite energy, or one who ETHEs, E.T., her, does, or does. E.T., it's like coming up as E.T., her, does E.T., he. It was just a little funny energy they were bringing through. And then ether also being the ash or bright light, or taking the high road. My son's nickname is MC Stain. That was coming up as well. And acing, blending 8 offices, and solar DT. Again, that solar, solar companies are coming up for whatever reason. But also the M and C is the Mary and the Christ energy too, like the mother and the Christ energy. And Stain came up with my Sophia post, so you can check that out with Ain and Ein and all that as the path of Ain, or path of one in. But Stan, S-T-A-N, was the path of one and then I was getting into that Stan and making it Stain. The mixture of the mixture acing the alchemist, and the power of seeing. And again, there's this reference of mixture, like bringing 2 different pieces of information together, or 2 plants together, whatever it may be. And in acing the alchemist, the blending of things, the power of see, and leap to the solar DT, Department of Crystals. And Seta was coming up, which is a mushroom or sorrow, or to configure, arrow, indicator. 100, white bristle silk to bind dog, stalk, or moss, Seta, S-E-T-A, but it also is Sagitta, which is Sagittarius, or being, like the human body. The sagittal image is like the body cut in half into the masculine and feminine sides. And then the P and N panels came up, as in solar panels. And TA Solar was a YouTube that came up that was reviewing different solar panels and explaining the differences between them, if you're interested in that. But P and N were significant, like the letters, capital P and capital N, which I always talk about the P as being the masculine housing and the N being the Christed energy. The mother, the mountain, Matthew, and the Matthew verses from the Bible were coming up. And remember, mountain, Mount and Tain, is the people's remembrance of mother and Matthew, the dog, as I just had welcomed Matthew home with the dog, and acing the angel, and then Snoopy was coming up. And again, remember, this is from the 13th. The strength of the sea and the solar deity. And the CCC was coming up as this ocean, this letter C of the Christ consciousness, and the whispering bench, the arc from one dot to the other, which is the line, and then seeing with your eyes. And the Knight of Pentacles was coming up with the solar deity. Right, the deity of the soul, the masculine lineage here. And then CB and BB were coming up, right, challenged by and blocked by alchemy and the solar, both were upright. Alchemy, which is that angelic energy of being balanced and patient, and then the solar deity upright as well, and the angel sun. Alchemy, solar deity, and angel sun. And this is the challenge coming up in this read. And sunblock was also coming up. Patience and exposure. Saggy and Leo. Sagitta is the fish ear bone, the arrow worm, the arrow shaft or bolt, and the keystone of an arch. And again emphasizing that splitting in half into the masculine and the feminine sides. Split in two. The P and the N, the P housing and the Christed half. Right, the master, as in the EN. Right, one is the housing and one is the master. And then we start with the Ten of Cups upright and the underlying energy over here with the SIRIAN Starseed deck. And of course we have Rider, WAITE Mini there. And below the Ten of Cups is Transition and the King of Wands upright, the Seven of Pentacles and Two of Pentacles reversed, Justice reversed, the Knight of Wands upright, and the Page of Cups upright. Through the portal, which is coming up today on the 13th, the King of Wands implements a plan for the E-Tower and 2, or 7 plus 2 is coming up, dropping the ball in justice, something that's not fair to the Knight of Wands and the Page of Cups, the Ten of Cups for family fulfillment, the Sun upright and exposure to heal the heart, perhaps kids to forgive or apologize, to the King of Wands and the Two of Cups. And again, that the energy of alchemy too, which is usually the energy of blending that flowing water back and forth in a higher love type of Two of Cups energy, or the Leo partnership here, in a split needing clarity at the Three of Pentacles workplace about a break, rest, or 5D connection, or meditation of the King of Pentacles. Remember, the King of Pentacles is the one who's a good speaker. And the Ten of Pentacles reversed, or family, business, community here, spending foolishly when they should be saving or being more practical and keeping their cards close to their chest. The High Priestess peeking out, and the Ten of Cups amusements, or the Ferris wheel coming up here, seeing that the fair came to town, or the King of Wands investment is unfair to the kids and their fulfillment, or ultimate fulfillment. With Scorpio upright and Libra reversed, Leo and Saggy and Pisces or Virgo upright with Aries reversed here, or the High Priestess checking out some prices, or looking after the home while the family's on vacation or a celebration at home, merging the rainbow bridge with nature, arcing or bowing, right? One goes up and one goes down, like the sine wave, and giving a choice. The King of Pentacles is upright with the Ten of Pentacles reversed, right? So he's arcing and they're bowing. And the embarrassment in front of the Divine Masculine partner keeping to themselves. The Ten of Cups family is happy here, but perhaps spending a lot. Children dancing around a happy home or a festival, welcoming growth. I was also getting the energy of a sukkah. The Ten of Cups and the Four of Wands, and the recent past being the Ace of Cups upright here, an exuding of love. An overabundance, perhaps, as we have the Ten of Cups and the Ace of Cups, right, going beyond the Ten of Cups. As the Queen of Wands may be weak, or with Leo in her chart, dumping emotional attachments or disillusionments. Sad Page of Cups here, wanting to make magic for her. And that could be a very innocent child or pet or loving energy there. The foundation of the Eight of Swords hiding in the woods, and the Queen of Pentacles reversed standing up to the group. The Five of Wands reversed, failing at leading them. The Page of Swords taking a swing, as the King of Cups is uncomfortable with the emotions here, or not being able to walk away, or doesn't want to answer the Page of Swords' question. Now the central energy is the Page of Swords reversed, and I was getting Cher saying, snap out of it, as the Ten of Wands is upright with the Nine of Wands reversed, which is literally the Atlas leaving the wounded warrior behind, with the Six of Cups reversed, and the bad memories. The challenge being alchemy, with the Three of Cups upright and the Nine of Cups upright, which are really positive energies altogether, really a lot of beautiful emotions. So why is that a challenge? The patient angel socializing and self-satisfied, as the Hanging Man reversed may be shocked or awakened to the Ace of Pentacles offer to the Queen of Swords, dark night. And that can be her dark night, can be her experience or her masculine dark night. This could be a Scorpio, right? I was just talking about my Scorpio sun, Matthew. And the Queen of Swords being paid for a night's work, or the Queen of Swords is being paid for the dark night's work. With Sagittarius upright and Pisces or Capricorn reversed with Scorpio upright here. And now crowning is the Tower reversed, stressed out. And remember, today is the Tower energy. And Scorpio and Taurus came up in my Instagram message, that axis with fire. So a lot of fire energy supporting that. The Page of Pentacles reversed in need of help. And the Knight of Pentacles with the Emperor both upright, offering to work for the Emperor with, or work with the money. Perhaps clearing it with Hermit. Or I don't know if they're clearing the job or the money. So somebody could be, I was just getting the energy of someone trying to clean money. Cleaning it with the Hermit or clearing it with the Hermit or an advisor or under doctor's care for back pain or powerlessness. Dependency with the Nine of Pentacles and the Knight of Cups both reversed. And the Patient Angel breaking patterns of poverty, of illness, of injury in a marriage or contract, religion or establishment. And soon at 10:56 here is and that's the Wheel of Fortune and the Two of Swords. The Eight of Cups is reversed in uncomfortable emotions, or they're destined to be in these uncomfortable emotions and not being able to walk away. As we have Pisces, Capricorn, Scorpio, and Libra, and the injustice of the energetic exchange, the EE, the business, the starting over again. The twin flames seeing themselves here as the higher self, depressed. It's upright, but there's some depression here. Prior to this, perhaps anxious lovers. The lovers are upright here too. Looking back for peace away from the inequity or scams, not sharing equally post-war or with PTSD. And the Queen of Cups reversed and the Knight of Swords reversed, trapped without a voice. Word. As Aquarius is reversed, Gemini upright, Pisces or Virgo upright here, and a need to heal imprisoned lover from past moving to calmer waters after a scam or played, or players spending all their money and left them in debt, as the Queen of Cups reversed and the Knight of Swords reversed. And around them is the Hanging Man awake to the deception of the Page of Wands' investment, or how the early bird catches the worm. The Page of Wands investing with the King of Swords reversed in a wake-up call. So perhaps that could just be too something that a child invested in, because right, when we're young we don't know and we make stupid investments, and this could be a father who's pissed off. It also could be a judge, being judge and jury. This could be a wake-up call, like if he's pissed off, fully exposed over here to higher self and not being able to walk away over here, right? Because if it's your higher self, it's you. So we have the challenge is here, but the block over here is the sun or the solar deity at 11:24, which is justice and the Queen of Wands. And we have injustice here of the 24, the Queen of Wands, the X, and the 24 pairs of chromosomes, right? The 24th, the Pleiadian energy. The solar deity after the Seven of Swords, risk, lying, cheating, and stealing, or running back, exposing all, 15 minutes of fame, and the Knight of Pentacles with the Queen of Wands, who are both upright here, whole and complete, and around the block. Maybe they've been around the block, right, so they know already. With the Devil reversed, detoxing and offering growth to a marriage or commitment or kids, and then receiving love from the Knight of Wands, who is wrangling back. The Scorpion and Cancer reversed. After a sudden event or drama of a break-up, down, a break-in or break-out or breakthrough, or just stuck bankrupt, the Knight of Pentacles and the Queen of Wands are starting over here with the Knight of Pentacles proposing to the Emperor gaining clarity as the Knight of Wands with the Empress, and now we have the Emperor and Emperor, and there could be choosing sides here, as the Knight of Wands with the Empress running back on her behalf. And it could be someone whose son is a football star, or kids put between the Emperor and the Empress in a marriage of commitment, or marriage or commitment, some other kind of commitment. The drama of kids' first interview, or needing help to get past the first level with the Emperor, consulting with an advisor or doctor about the pain of the Nine of Pentacles and the Knight of Cups, both reversed here. So it could be some, the powerlessness of feeling rejected or jealous, and dependence, patience, tripped, fell, or dropping the act, breaking patterns of relying on the establishment, the religion, the marriage, or a Taurus, with the Empress's side all running in to feed the beast, a codependent offering, with the Nine of Wands upright willing to run through anything, all sorts of blocks, in order to offer that Ace of Wands to the Hierophant, which is the establishment, basically. But it also could be a religious leader, it could be a Taurus person. As the Emperor receives here, and the Empress gives, the Hierophant makes a deal, I was just getting let's make a deal, with the devil for sex and adoration, broken in by the Knight of Wands and the Empress, both upright here, with Scorpio, Capricorn, and Cancer reversed, and Virgo, Sag, and Taurus upright here, Pisces upright here too, and the Knight of Pentacles with the Queen of Wands upright here, and the drama of men versus women, a battle of the sexes and exes, two out in the cold in exile, and the Hermit in the Mary Magdalene cave, depressed, or Aquarius, King of Swords reversed, looking back or going back with the King of Pentacles upright. Now the twin flames are seeing themselves as the higher self here, Pisces or Virgo, and POW is coming up, as well as, right, so POW is prisoner of war, but also PO love was coming up, prisoner of love, but also PS had been coming up a lot too, like PS with love. Finding peace amidst all the inequity post-war within, the PTSD of the Queen of Cups and the Knight of Swords reversed, seen as Pisces or Capricorn reversed, shocked into waking up. At dawn, the Page of Wands makes a plan with the King of Swords reversed to make a big announcement or set the alarm really loud to wake the dead. So this could also be a father who's pissed off at somebody who won't get up in the morning, and then this one is really excited to help them, wake everybody up out of their sleep with really loud noise. The Queen of Cups reversed and Cancer reversed with the Knight of Swords reversed and Aquarius reversed, or Gemini upright, and the Queen of Cups reversed holding back, but the King of Swords reversed is not. Perhaps Cancer child or pet is excluded from the King of Swords reversed, is excited for the King of Swords reversed to get up in the morning, hoping they'll give them attention, but then they're pissed off. Or patience and sunshine seem to be the issue here. And why is that, right? Because it's like the child or pet who gives you constant love and you're not in the mood. And the challenge being balance and exposing all. And angel sun, and mama's boy, the little fiery one with Cancer in their chart. All four fire signs, Leo, Aries, and Sagittarius, and the four fire signs are, the King, Queen, Knight, and Page. They're all coming up upright, right? It's the only sign that had all upright court cards. And it was coming up with all of the mutables too. So Gemini, Pisces, Sag, and Virgo, along with Aries. And Taurus was the only one upright, winning over Cancer, Capricorn, and perhaps Scorpio. But it was all positive mutables and all positive fire and positive Taurus overall in this read. The main cards, the big cards, the major arcana, we had Scorpio, Libra reversed, Pisces or Virgo upright, Pisces or Capricorn reversed, Sagittarius upright, Leo upright, and Scorpio reversed as the main cards in the read. as the Knight of Pentacles, Page of Cups, Ten of Cups, and Eight of Swords all upright here, and fearful of higher self awakening. The King of Wands holding down the fort, while the King of Pentacles vacations or takes a break, with the Ten of Pentacles reversed, family, business, or community. That's now the Four of Pentacles, right? So there's been a big loss there or a split. As the Queen of Wands may be gushing with mother's love or the Magician, and the Page of Cups. It doesn't look like mother's love. Is gushing with the Magician's love, or the Magician and the Page of Cups. Clearly challenged by patience, or patience, actual patience, and not being able to just walk away, exposing all the drama and the resistance to sudden change and drama of the Knight of Pentacles and Queen of Wands upright, starting over with the Hermit left out in the cold and depressed, or needing to heal with the King of Swords reversed, or is the King of Swords reversed, from the past with the King of Pentacles upright. Remember who's the one who's a really good speaker or likes to talk. And that was at 1226, which is the Hanging Man, and the 26th of the Page of Wands. Right, hung out to dry with the Page of Wands. As the Ten of Cups and the Ace of Cups are upright, perhaps scared to lose balance if they have too much information, right? Wanting to just a little bit at a time. Sudden changes and drama, challenged by the patience and balance, the higher self uncomfortable awakening or energized, sunshine, vacation, fully exposed, as the Knight of Pentacles and Queen of Wands starting over from the beach to the cold mountains, not seen by the King of Swords reversed in the past, mastering their pentacles, right? So that King of Pentacles could be the way he used to be. So on the 14th from the past life deck, the Unrequited Love card came up again. So there's definitely that father wound. And also Native American and father. And then the energy of marrying an Indian, and his father did not like the father or father-in-law did not like your partner, right? So they were of a different culture or ethnicity or something like that. Again, the slave to the railroad, and writing by candlelight about unrequited love. After karmic finances and imprisoned by transportation, which same energies came up today, writing about or to unrequited love, or choosing karmic over Native American father. Okay? Unable to receive love from both. Right, you can't love both of them. They're giving you an ultimatum. It's either me or them. And then the energy of this imprisonment of the multiple portals versus the native. All right, so this symbol was coming up. All right, so this is the prison with multiple portals, but then it's upside down in the teepee of the native, like the Hanging Man, right? The wise one who sees from a different perspective. And then the father of FATHER, the infinite digamma rocket with explosive nature. The underlying energy of the arts, and the first energy of leaving and travel and trust and faith. On the road again, Willie Nelson. And the suitcase or railroad and sun at the left shoulder, John Denver, with no sign of the torch in her right hand, but knowing it's there. Medicine man or woman and transportation here, dream catchers with feathers. We're coming up as the grid and the net and 3 hanging natives. So literally Jesus and the 2 other thieves that were being hung out to dry are coming up together, right? They were all humans being hung in the grid or the net. The flowering circle of 3 angelic couples transported across, not just JC, but all 3 and their higher selves. The bullet train of assassins and the comedy and tragedy of the perfect storyline for arts and entertainment, or A and E. Waiting for the train, Spirit's connecting with me very deeply there. Waiting for the train, a pyramid scheme to land of Lady Liberty and home of braves, crossing into New World, to write about orphan vows or forgiveness of Asia Minor, and as Ia, not to boot, or Italy, but Tibet, source bet, galactic love life, and Atlantis, which is at LA, which is also angels, at angels, and the time traveler's wife, and Sophia coming up at the end. The dolphin people, authority figures of fairy dust, putting the hammer down with unicorn 5D wisdom from 3D horse farm. So the unicorn comes up as the 5D horse with a unicorn. The unicorn wisdom from the 3D horse farm. The mother and children and communal living. The Atlas Mountains and the Rock of Gibraltar and Stonehenge. The Celtic cross of Neanderthal and High Priestess, both looking up with their hands facing up. The Neanderthal and his cross in circle, the High Priestess in her Mary Magdalene cave with angels, he and his community, and she with her angels. And again, the energy, the discrepancy between the masculine and feminine in history. At 1157, as the angels are watching the Greco-Roman pillars and ancient ruins with a breakthrough of the sun's rays, clearing fears and phobias the way we pray and giving our power away. To biblical carpenter, father and son, knighthood, messenger of truth, and the high priestess, persecution and inquisition, and how he stayed silent when she was strung up. Helpless to watching, he and spouse, marriage, and connected to whatever be, or whatever he was doing at the time, for lessons and blessings, and the time traveler's wife, unrequited love connected to the pyramids of Egypt and portals there, or Judas and betrayal, and bailed out of prison of karmic relationship, the male-female back-to-back due to spirituality and religion and food and hunger, of monk and nun, and health care and health, of hippos, which was really interesting because hippos came up in the movie I watched, in Down the Rabbit Hole, because I just wanted to go to Africa to see the hippos. But also it's coming up as the Hippocratic Oath, and hippocampus just came up. And the carrot sticks, snakes, and Hippocratic Oath, vows of marriage, right? So the Hippocratic Oath is a vow, and then vows of marriage, and then dealing with food, and then celibacy, and do no harm. Back and Native American and Spanky's gang, alfalfa sprouts, TPs, upside down perspectives, and archways and shutters, landings, actually shuttles, like the shuttle, the space shuttle, archways and shuttles and landings as a brand new ship has arrived, the sun in the sky and the sun as in the sun, and is filtering through the trees, the Native American ships and family trees of the baby in the basket, or Moses, and civil wars, the art of war, tripods, keys, and cords all set up on bridges to hold them fast. The arts, hearts, he, or laughing arts, infinite ear, or top dog's S, Sophia and shit, or shh it, quiet. The infinite Ea roots and back to the source, breaking up with Eas to our fathers along the way, right? Because we have multiple fathers of stages of going back to father source, the all. And father lands as she is mother. Father source, he a stream, and she everything else. She is the shh, and E is the temple of equality, aka energy. And energy is EN or JC temple of of God at the Y in the road, 0 point field. JC is the toroidal field with direction, love and light, movement, an angle of descent or ascent, taking off and landing between even keels or flight patterns, shifting to fly or driving a stick, 0 to 60, human to find love and peace. Low holy place of offering and peace or P seal, 2 peas in a pod with love to sir with love, seriously, which also means Sir ES or Jesus, seriously, for Sirius is Jesus and the central sun, all the rays that you are, God, which is also toi in parentheses, or you. So tais-toi, as TAIS, is the cloth of East Timor, TIMOR, which is also source more, and again the people, the more, which came up the other day. Ia's path and source more. Top dog I am, human, housing, reaching out to you. From the future, French forms, quiet and silent, and what did I write there? It is TAIS, which means compassionate, moist, tender, soft, humid, mild, kind, gentle, indulgent, to make or finish. As right at that moment, my daughter came out of her room. She had finished being in there for hours for school. Badger came up, as well as Este, ESTAIS, which is also a star, to be, swamp, basin, dish, plate, bowl, and cup. From May 12th, and we're on the 14th here, 1 to 10 and 1 to 9, regarding defining the numbers. And then the humanity of the hand is the hand of God. As I told you already, the 81144444118 is hand in hand, H++, hydrogen, proton and proton, H+ acidic, and OH. Oh, and Mr. Bill was posted this morning too. Oh no! As the 2H+ and D+, and H2O humans, hand in hand, 162288, the Tower Fool dancing twins, and sudden dancing fools, suddenly 2 at 28 dance, magic lovers to 28 dance, basically, the twin flame dance. And again, then I was referencing the other ways of where the letter H came from, which is I fallen down. And it came from, the original is a fence in Egyptian. So H came from the borders, the fence, which then became the ladder knocked down, or the Roman numeral 3, which then became the window with just 2 panes in Phoenician, which then, with different versions, became the H. So the fence, and then on came up anew, which is 1, and the D, which is deuterium, or H2, and 2H, or 2 fences, the divine axis spin of the sphere, the spinning of the planet, with 1 fence equaling the ladder, the window, the letter H, and D equals 2 fences, ladders, and window. 1 and 2 protect, climb, and free anew, or 1U. To fence, sword fight, S word, and fence, which is the F word, Enki, Sophia's, 2U origin, and Father Enki, or digamma twin flame, JC seal. And also there's this reference of the feminine being the toroidal field, but the JC energy, or masculine energy, is the direction. So we have ekinetic cells came up from a post on Instagram, and AKENENIC cells, which is supposed to be 144 cells that are behind the thymus gland that are indestructible. And let's see here. And living with leopards came up too. And this is the picture that sits next to my baby picture there. I just cut this out of a magazine, but I just loved this picture. How cute are they? So I don't think they're leopards, they look more like cheetahs, but it was bringing up that energy. Their expressions are so cute, with their little fangs hanging out. And if you haven't watched Living with Leopards, it's really good. It's a documentary they made about living with the leopards. So the energy of the secret 144 cells and the thymus gland, the 144 akinetic cells, which means they're immortal or cannot die, because they're directly connected to source in a loop, like an 8 loop, and all-knowing at the center of the chest, and which lies make it shrink and truth open. And I just looked it up to see what came up, because there's not much about that. And behind the thymus, here's the 144 cells, and AKENE is a Lemurian concept. It is the essence of who we are. Electrons of these cells pass through the atomic core, which comes up as AT-OM IC, which is the inner child core, and central ore, creating an infinite loop, which means that the cells cannot die or they're immortal. And I was looking at verywellhealth.com as well. So the keen for me, that word kept coming up in my other notes too, like K-E-N-E, because E-N-E keeps coming up, but also keen, K-E-E-N. And so, and then also Elizabeth April talks about her contact's name is Kinetic from the Galactic Federation. And as soon as I saw a kinetic, I was getting kinetic, but it's kinetic, whereas this is a kinetic, it's with an N. So I looked up different definitions. And Miguel, I was just getting Miguel. I don't know, Miguel's coming up. I don't know, maybe Archangel Michael's coming up. But T cells were coming up regarding the thymus gland. And lymphocytes, which of course are what protect us, our white cells protect us from infection. But our thymus gland only grows to a certain age when we're a teen, and then starts to shrink very slowly, or what they think is the time where it starts triggering age issues, or when you can get sick more and respond to vaccines less. And there's different T cells. I just thought this was kind of interesting. The cytotoxic T cells, the helper T cells, and the regulatory T cells. And the cytotoxic T cells are considered like assassins, and the helper T cells are like the bridge of the B to the B cells that get them to attack. And then the regulatory come up as the police to suppress the B and other T cells if mistakenly harming the body. Okay, so again, the focus of the thymus gland here, as opposed to what everyone's always talking about, the pineal gland. So also solar panels came up in 120 cells and 144 cells, considered half-cut panels, which makes them the same as 60 or 72 cell panels. There was a lung developing study IDing 144 cell states or types in the early stages of life. And they use the word atlas. It's like an atlas of how to identify the different cells. The electrons that pass through the atomic core, the AT-OM IC co-reference, thereby creating a loop so that the energy of these cells never gets lost and replenishes itself. And this was coming up from news-medical.net. And that was December 8th, 22 message. And then the word akene, A-K-E-N-E, is the base word, is a Lemurian concept meaning the essence of who you are throughout your lives, and it connects you to the absolute. And also MeloniaEducation.com also came up. At age 13, the thymus starts moving away. They talk about it as moving away from the heart. Why teens act like rebellious kids again. Because and this was so parallel to living with leopards, because it's just heartbreaking when the mother pushes her babies she just raised, she attacks them to get them to leave so that she can have her new babies and have her new man, so to speak. And there's the same kind of energy coming up here, that age 13, the thymus starts moving away from the heart, and so the teens start acting up like rebellious kids to reconnect to the absolute love and empowerment to themselves, right? Because they're becoming too dependent on the parent. They need to be pushed out of the nest. This evolutionary process evens out at about age 26. So there's that significance of 26 again as well. Akene means to gape, a small, dry, indehiscent fruit containing a single seed, as in the buttercup, which is Mary Magdalene's flower. Akene. And a keen is a tick, as in tick, 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 not at the bug tick, but as in a tick that you might have. Keen means tick, melody, and this is Kene. Tune, meter, keen to know again, and you will soon. And Keen is sharp, intense, fierce, acute mind, and bitter, penetrating, cutting, marvelous, and competitive, brave, courageous, bold, ardent, prompt, shrewd, intelligent, and to make cold, waiting for a deceased person, to utter a keen or wordless cry. And whenever utter's coming up now, it's referencing the feminine. To mourn you, thou bring, and then AK came up too in all those definitions with ENE. So I looked up all the definitions of the parts of the word. And it comes up as rocket energy, JC temple. And then I had a flashback when I wrote this, when I saw years ago one of my past lives where I saw the knights invading the temple. And that's what came up when I wrote that. The rocket energy of JC temple, I Christ-like, single seed buttercup, which is Mary Magdalene. The wordless cry, a key, any. Reflection of EN, which is JC, and Lord and Master, and a woman, Mary Magdalene. I, one and alone, island inward, and land, beach in the sun. I am huge show of power, I am a lot, I know. I, my, he, she, he, her, to see, or in the ocean, SEA, to see and feel, and eat or consume. Sophia, or the wisdom of Ea, the energetic exchange, E, A, and C, the feminine, masculine, and Christ consciousness, and Ea, top dog. E being the temple, A being the rocket, or E is the temple, is the home, but also the avatar. So it's home and rocket being the vehicle versus home being the avatar, which could be seen as the vehicle the first time, and then the vehicle being the flame to ignite. Akene is direction key, any, or NY like Christed, or crystal, ED. A and E with Ken between. And Ken is to give birth, conceive, nourish, sustain, to know, feel, perceive, understand, to discover by sight, catch sight of range. House and den of thieves, youth group. 6 shakus, or it's a Japanese unit. And tsurugi is a type of sword, or S word. Thy, there, chinny, chin, chin, the plural of ka, or K, and water, energized water, that you are, and word. Soul, bird, cord, and line, to break, bite, chip, and rummage, which sounds like building a nest. To come, skirt, smear, and horror, children, fist, who, wide, food, recognition, laugh, smile, kindred, kin, to be able to, allowed, regard, liking, and wheel. Akene, a very important word. You can either dance, so ultimately here, you can either dance back and forth in the Crazy Eights dance to ground and integrate as you go, or you can climb to the top of the mountain and fall all the way down. Cells divide and multiply and expand and activate, and then they contract and unify to come back within. We inspire and expire. We breathe in and breathe out. A never-ending sine wave of dream and doubt TLC, chasing rainbows, and no doubt. Don't speak. I know just what you're saying. Don't tell me, 'cause it hurts. It's a living, you gotta stop pretending who we are. And then the lyrics go to hush, hush, darling. Again, Sophia's shh it. The whole truth, the sword, the S word, her, he, the two use origin. He spoke word, and her golden silence was now shh it. Tais-toi. Silence you. Now all's gone to shit. All right, so then we go to the 15th, which is yesterday. And that's when I watched Michael oh no, actually we're in the 16th now already, because that was the 15th. Akeen was the 15th, and now we're in the 16th today. Yay, so we're almost done. So, as the King of Pentacles and King of Wands, discuss if the Queen of Pentacles reversed is really committed. Perhaps Libra with an ultimatum for Taurus about a marriage or to the establishment or school. Could be some kids who got in trouble at school too here. So I watched Michael Sala's, that's World Religions and Extraterrestrial Contact Part 1. An important description for me of timelines and progression of the gods and humans, where he brings up the fact that Abraham is a Sumerian, he's from Sumeria. And the original primordials being Apsu and Tiamat. So when he said Apsu, because I kept getting Aps, A-P-S-E, and remember in different languages, ending in A-E-I or U, brands whether it's a feminine, masculine, or plural, right? So it's getting literally a reference to Apsu as what was the Aps? I'm trying to remember what my reference was there. But anyway, Tiamat is Mumu. Apsu is father, and Tiamat is Mumu, the primordial gods from the void, the sea, or the chaos. And again, then there was Anu with Enki and Enlil, all the creator gods and the successor gods, or their children, the family tree. So where they came from, whether it was ships, portals, or oceans, we don't know, and this is what Michael's bringing up, that they had magic, which was seen as magic, but were actually advanced technologies. So with A-E-I-O-U coming up, with Apsu, which is father here, I was getting I being source, the O being word, A is the masculine, E is the feminine, and U is the us, or coming together, plural. Where father and Mu fight, because she gets agitated, which was the energy that I brought up today, and then there's a war, and then the war between Enlil and Enki. And again, how these parallel to the other versions too, of, the Greeks and the planets and all that kind of stuff. But I'll let you watch Michael's video. But he brings up the assembly being like, the higher group that decides the 24 seeders of the human race, right? All of the DNA that we have in us are the ones who get to decide whether someone takes action or not in a war. So En, which he talks about all the meanings of the names and everything like that, but like I said before already, I brought this up already. En means Lord, Master, and Father, but also for me, JC. And then he brought up the Enuma Elish, which is the Sumerian first recorded records. And I immediately go to breaking down the word, and I initially got enumerate El-ish, which references Enlil regarding the Sumerian records. And then Sheba Inu came up, which is Sheba Inu. And Nu is also a measure of prisms, again, breaking the light. To hear, sense, drink, coconut house, one, no, nude, naked, barren, bare, and this is all new, Nu. We now, in the moment, in the instant, which remember came up before, And this is just coming up from Shiba Inu, but it was also coming up from Anu also, but also whatever other words were Nu was coming up with before that I brought up. So, and then I get to when I was meditating for you. And again, the little girl with the suitcase and the penguin that had been gifted to me that morning from Teddy Bear. Yes, Teddy Bear, you. And again, the vehicle, the suitcase, and the penguin, and the unrequited love of the Father, because he's always on the road. So I just want to pull one quick card and let you go, because I know this one's long after a couple short ones. It's 2:15 and it was 30. 2:15 and 30. I was just getting 30 and 30 for 30. On the sports shows, is it 30? 30 for 30, I can't remember. 215 is a Philadelphia area code, but also 30 is the Union. And yeah, let's just pull a quick one from Messages of Love, the Oracle cards here, and see what comes up. As the baby in the basket is also on the top here, looking at me just like the little girl. Right, the basket being what carries them. The basket is the vehicle, right, for the baby there, like Moses. And his body, his home, right, because that's all he has once he's been released out into the water. Into the primordial waters. Oh. Second chance. This relationship deserves a second chance. And we're talking about the unrequited love of the Father. The leap of faith. It's safe to make the move you're considering. And obstacles. Unhealed wounds are blocking forward movement. And I think there's, how many more cards? 2 more. Denial. Detach with love clearly to see the truth. And wait. The timing's not quite right. The bottom of the deck is a warning. Don't dismiss the red flags here. And there's a sexual connection here. And this doesn't mean this is your twin. It could be another connection that you're dealing with right now, or someone in your life. This connection is passionate but not enduring, so don't dismiss the red flags here. You may be dealing with yourself or someone in your family or somebody else, but also could be a karmic relationship. It's safe to make the move you're considering. It deserves a second chance. Unhealed wounds are blocking forward movement regarding unrequited love of the Father. Detach with love to clearly see the truth that it's not unrequited and the timing's just not quite right. Okay, so that's a great message for you guys too. Okay, yay! My device did not dump me today. I figured out the right thing to do, I guess. So remember your water, your rest, your joy, and your nature. And I will see you guys next time. Rise and be love, guys. Bye.